All right, Bubba, start cleaning those tires up. Don't green this time. Remember, they fan out down there, so protect that bottom. Sunday drive. All right, boss man. Face car's off. Be ready. All right, bud, be ready. Gas that bitch up. Ready. Green flag. Green.
Welcome, everybody, to the Inside Pass on WSIC. That was a look at what happens when you don't see where the camera's at when the show starts.
I don't think Nikea wanted herself on camera.
That was our producer, by the way, for those of you watching us on TV right now. That's
awesome
Nikea.
Producer that we have.
Welcome to the show, everybody. It is Tuesday morning here all across the United States, and I guess the people in Kansas City are celebrating today because the Chiefs
Kansas and Missouri
are Super Bowl champions. Yes.
Both
Yeah, I'm not
Cities.
Trump, but whatever. To me, when people say Kansas City, I think of both Missouri and Kansas.
Exactly.
So
that was my point. I said technically he's not wrong. I'm sure the people in the Kansas part are just as proud of the Chiefs as the Missouri part, right?
Kansas City is Kansas
It's all
City.
Kansas City.
Like Texarkana. There's an Arkansas and a Texas.
Exactly.
So it's all the same. So on today's show, we are going to it's the official start of Speed Weeks in Florida. If you drive a race car, I'm probably sure you're on your way to Florida right now, because every major touring series in the country is going to converse into Southern Florida this week for the start of their seasons. One of those divisions is the World of Outlaws series, and we are going to talk to Daryn Pittman, who is trying to, I guess, better his fourth-place run in last year's championship chase with Roth Motorsports. Blah, blah, blah.
Wow. It's only one syllable, Randy.
I know. I've been drinking already this morning. Anyway, so he's going.
Go.
No, I'm just kidding.
Apparently not enough.
Well, that's a whole nother story. We don't have enough time for that. Anyway, so he'll join us in the next segment. The two major series that start their seasons this week is the ARCA Racing Series and the Busch Clash. I have to remember that it's now back to the Busch Clash again. We've gone from Busch Clash to Bud Shootout to Advanced Auto Parts Clash once or twice, and then now it's back to being Busch Clash.
Yes.
Again. So we'll break
Everything
all that stuff.
old is new again, except me.
We'll move on.
Anyway,
so the ARCA series, as we mentioned, they start their season off on Saturday afternoon on FS1. Got a lot of talent in this on the entry list. A lot of our friends, a lot of people that you guys watching and listening to our shows here on the Race Chaser brand know very well. Most of them Venturini guys, but nonetheless, there are plenty of other talent in the race as well. I have the official, or I guess the unofficial official entry list. I don't know if this is exactly official, but it's got 33 names on it, so it's pretty close. Among the names on there, Haley Deegan will be driving for DGR, which we've talked about already. You've got Drew Dollar, who's in the Venturini car, number 15. Tanner Gray is in a DGR car. Riley Herbst, Ryan Rebko, Michael Self, David Gravel's in there, Natalie Decker. So there's some good names, and of course I skipped a bunch of names, but 33 names overall. I think that's a pretty decent entry list, huh? For ARCA race?
It is, yeah, and of course Daytona is different because you always get drivers that are running that race to get approval from NASCAR to run the truck race or maybe the Xfinity race over the course of the following weekend. So that's kind of the hey, I can do this super speedway thing. Oh, yeah, show me. Okay, I'll run the ARCA race, and then they go and run. So you get a lot of these drivers that kind of cross over, not just because they want to run the ARCA race, but they also want to go run one of the other races the following weekend, so they have to get their approval first.
Mm-hmm. Or even if they want to run super speedways at any point in time during the year, they have to have a certain amount of track time on the super speedway course. I think most of these guys ran the test that they had a couple of weeks ago down in Daytona. It's kind of a preparation type test. We talked to Rebco and to Self. Both of them think that they have great cars. And actually, they've been all of them have been posting on social media the pictures of their cars and paint schemes and stuff like that. All of them very excited. All of them are ready to go to Daytona and do some good things. Just some stats about last year's race. Harrison Burton won the 2019 edition of the race. Michael Self won it the year before in 2018. Last year's race had an average green flag run of 9 laps, and they ran 35% of the race under caution. So I know a couple of years ago we talked about when Rebco was here. We talked about I guess it was the 2017 or 2018 edition of the race that saw it was marred by caution flags, and I think only 7 or 8 cars finished that race. So it's one of those. To me, the ARCA race is probably one of the most exciting races in Daytona Speed Weeks because you don't know what you're going to get. You have drivers that are new, drivers that are seasoned veterans, you have some other people mixed in and sprinkled in, and a lot of those guys aren't used to running those high speeds that close together, and one false move can take out half the field. Exactly. It's just an exciting way because you have different drivers and different mentalities trying to do different things on the racetrack.
Well, here's the thing. The reason I like the ARCA race is because for us, we spend a lot of time, we spend a lot of time with a lot of these younger drivers who are coming up. We, have them on our shows and spend a lot of time talking to them. And so for us, it's kind of, okay, now let's see him go perform on the racetrack. And you've got, Venturini alone has got a ton of talent. But then when you look at some of the drivers on the list that you may not see full time in the series, but they're running Daytona for their own reasons, as we've talked about, this has the making of being a very aggressive race. I want to know where you got that entry list, by the way, because I'm on the ARCA site clicking on entry list, and all it does is take me to the homepage.
This was actually on...
Epic fail, guys. Come on.
This was on Racing Reference, actually.
Oh, so, okay.
That's why I said I don't know if it's official, but... it seems official. There's 33. All the people that I knew were going to be there are on here.
It's as official as anything on the ARCA site.
There may be some extra people added in at some point. There are two rides that are TBA right now. One of them is the 9 for, I guess, Our Motorsports having 2 cars in the field, and then another Chad Bryant Racing entry that's not listed on here as our driver TBA. Connor Hall's driving the other Chad Bryant car. So 2 drivers still left.
When you look at this list, I'm just looking at. First of all, I laughed to see the name Tim Richmond.
Yeah, I did too. I was like,
I feel sorry for that. For whoever this Tim Richmond is, I feel bad for you because instantly, everybody's going to expect you to go win the race. Mm-hmm. But you look at Andy Seiss, you look at Haley Deegan, you look at a driver like Jason White. You've got Brett Holmes running again, Michael Self looking to run for a championship. Once again, Natalie Decker getting some experience with Ken Schrader, and she's going to have, one of the all-time top crew chiefs in the history of the sport with Tony Eury Jr.
Yep.
And so, you look at this list, and there's some interesting names there. I think this could be a really, really, really good race. And the reason we have so many cautions is because a lot of these guys just haven't run super speedways before. So this is kind of their education. You can't expect them to be as perfect as the Cup guys are and never cause a big one. Oh, wait.
Exactly. All right, we are going to take a quick break. When we come back on the other side, we will hopefully have Daryn Pittman on the strutmasters.com hotline. If not, we got more to talk about. We'll be back on the Inside Pass on WSIC. We're back.
This is News Talk 105.9 Lake Norman, 100.7 Greater Statesville, WSIC, where Mooresville turns first for breaking news and severe weather alerts.
Listen up, Carolinas. During the President's Day event, there's only one Jeep dealer in the Carolinas that has the largest new Jeep inventory. Lake Norman Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. We are the only Jeep dealer in the Carolinas that guarantees we will beat any new Jeep deal. The President's Day event is on now at Lake Norman Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, located at I-77 at exit 28. Online at LakeNormanChrysler.com.
For WSIC, I'm Fox 46 meteorologist Nick Koser. High is 68 with a 20% chance for showers later in the day. Overnight low 54. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy, a 40% chance for showers and another warm high of 67. Back up to 69 on Thursday, but it's going to be a wet one with showers and storms. From the Neighborhood Storm Watch Forecast Center, I'm meteorologist Nick Koser. Be sure to catch Chief Meteorologist Tara Lane today on Fox 46 News at 5.
Hey, this is Tracy Austin, host of Mental Fitness Matters show on WSIC Radio. I'm coming to you today just to talk about New Mentality, which is a neurofeedback, biofeedback, and counseling facility located in Mooresville. If you are looking for ways to optimize your mental health without the use of medication, check out newmentalityinc.com. That's www.newmentalityinc.com. We offer brain mapping, biofeedback, and neurofeedback, helping people live a life without limits.
Even when it's winter in the morning and spring in the evening, Little Shavers has you covered with all of your home care needs. They have mulch, stains, as well as space heaters and lumber. No matter the weather here in NC, summer, spring, or fall, Little Shavers Woodshop has it all. Located at 3301 Salisbury Highway, 7 miles east of I-77 in Statesville. Little Shavers Woodshop.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, inventor of MyPillow. Just like all of you, I had trouble sleeping. I tried every pillow out there and nothing worked. That's why over 10 years ago, I invented MyPillow. My patented fill adjusts to your exact individual needs so you get to sleep faster and you stay there longer. And I have a 60-day money-back guarantee.
Right now, you can buy one of MyPillow premiums and get another one absolutely free. Go to MyPillow.com and use promo code WSIC. Remember, go to MyPillow.com and use promo code WSIC.
If you're struggling to pay the mortgage, Making Home Affordable is a free government resource that can make it easier. Call 888-995-HOPE or visit makinghomeaffordable.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Treasury, HUD, and the Ad Council.
I'm Chase Elliott, and you're listening to the Inside Pass.
Welcome back to the Inside Pass on WSIC. This chair makes me seasick because it keeps going down during the course of the show. So I'm really high up in the air, and then by the time the commercial comes, I'm sitting on the floor. I have to raise it back up. Welcome back to
you
the
look
Inside
like
Pass.
The twins. We should be remaking Twins here.
That'd be awesome. We should do that. Mark, if you're
everybody
listening,
tells me I look like DeVito anyway.
We could do a WSIC.
I don't know about you looking
film.
like Schwarzenegger though.
Well, I mean, maybe in my dreams.
He's one of those Halloween costumes, I think.
It's not a tumor. That's all I remember from the show. Anyway, welcome back to the Inside Pass. So we talked about the ARCA race on Saturday. I completely forgot that the Busch Clash is on Sunday. Isn't it usually on Saturday night?
They moved it. I think last year was the first year they moved it. And it used to be on, I think, Saturday afternoon. It always started at like noon when it first started.
Yeah,
it was just a 25-lap sprint, and it was fun. Now we got to have all kinds of crazy stuff, segments, and more drivers and all of that. But nonetheless, it is on Sunday afternoon after qualifying.
Yeah, it's a 75-lap sprint now instead of 20 laps. But it's February 9th, which is Sunday, 3 p.m. Eastern Time on FS1. It's basically like an exhibition race. It's an opportunity for basically anybody who did good last year to get a head start on the rest of the competition and get a little bit of track time in before the start of the season.
Well, it's for all the pole winners.
Right, pole winners. Well,
etc.
The criteria...
Past Clash winners, etc.
Yeah, the criteria is as follows. It is Busch Pole Award winners from last season.
Right.
Past Busch Clash champions who competed full-time last year. Former Daytona 500 champions who competed full-time last year. And former Daytona 500 pole winners who competed full-time last year. And then all the playoff drivers. So basically... your playoff drivers, and that's it.
Yeah, I always liked it when it was just the pole winners because that made it special and unique. But
so basically, it's the 16 drivers that made that made the playoffs. The only exceptions are, of course, Jimmy Johnson and Daniel Suarez, because Suarez actually he's eligible to compete. He wasn't on the entry list because at the time he didn't have a ride. Now he does. So I assume that Gaunt Brothers will enter a car for him, but I don't know. If that's true.
We'll see.
I mean, I assume he would. He's eligible for it. So.
You would think, because you would think they would want that seat time together.
Right.
So if they have a car that they can put in and designate for that purpose, I would think you'll see Daniel in the car.
And then the only Austin Dillon is also on the list because he won a pole. And then the only guy that's not entered that is eligible is Daniel Hamrick because he won a pole with RCR, but he's not with RCR. He's with Junior Motorsports now. So they can fill the car for him, but he drives for Junior Motorsports, so why would you?
Right.
But so he's now an Xfinity driver, so therefore he's eligible but not racing. So there's 19 drivers out of 20 on the entry list, so there'll be 19 guys competing in the race. Do you think that this is an advantage for these guys to be able to go out before, especially with the Chevrolet guys, because they have a new car?
Well, sure.
So is it an advantage for these guys to go out and get the track time before everybody else hits the track next week for practice?
Well, it is. Sure. I mean, because it's the same thing. I mean, you're running at the same relative time of day. I mean, is what you're going to be in the 500. So it is absolutely an advantage, and I think that's why. When you look at Suarez, for example, Gaunt Brothers would be crazy.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Not to put him in the race because it gives you the opportunity to learn, and especially as you said, for the Chevy guys with a new snout, they're going to want to, that's data and information is critical in this day and age. So it's absolutely an advantage, and it's also a whole lot of fun for these guys because it's like the All-Star race. There are no points, on the line. So this is just go out and try to win a race.
Yeah. And by the way, Jimmy Johnson won this race last year, the only race he won all year.
Well, yes, and he did it with the bumper, if you remember. I mean, that's, and I'm just
the
saying.
driver in me says a win is a win, but I get what you're saying.
That's how bad he wanted to win that race.
If he'd have done that during the
Wouldn't
season,
be surprised to see him win it again either.
So, forgive me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that the rules are that you have to use the same car all weekend. Am I right? Like the Clash and the 500 has to be the same car, or is it two different cars?
No,
different cars, right?
Unless they've changed it.
Maybe the 500 car has to be ran for qualifying the twins.
That's
and,
correct.
Okay,
but the Clash car can be a separate car.
Okay, just like the All-Star car and the 600 car.
I would think Gaunt Brothers would want to have two cars, one for. In other words, you're almost running the backup car in the Clash and then just putting it in the trailer.
Yeah. Well, the reason why I said this because I thought maybe Gaunt Brothers was kind of skeptical about it if they only get to have one car, not having enough cars prepared for Daniel to not have to add an extra car, especially if you get it tore up. But if it's only one car, then whatever, go for it. So speaking of cars and paint schemes and stuff like that, Chase Elliott, of course, has Hooters as a sponsor. And they unveiled what I believe is going to be their primary car when Hooters is a sponsor this year.
Yep.
It is a solid matte black car with orange lettering. It is the coolest looking car I have seen in a very long time, and it's plain. It's just a plain colored car. But it's called the Night Owl car. It's a Night Owl scheme. I believe it's going to run all of the night races because Hooters is sponsoring all of the night races. It is the coolest looking car I've ever seen.
It actually is. Well,
really
Hooters
cool.
car. The Hooters always comes up with.
Yeah, they do.
The green.
Old school fans are going to want the white and orange, but I get it. I mean,
get it. and you could still have that somewhere along the way. But it's. I think it's different, and I really like it, and I love that sponsors have fun with these. I think this is kind of where we're going now because more and more as we see this new business model come into NASCAR for. Sponsoring the Cup Series in general, I think you're going to see more teams and more sponsors go, you know what? If I had this, if I sponsor all the West races for my team, per se, then we come up with a theme that sort of fits that. And, I think you're going to see more and more of that, and that would make it fun to me. As a fan, because you get more variation in the paint scheme, and it's not just the same thing all year.
Yep, especially when they do some like special marketing things like Hooters doing the Night Owl scheme. I believe it's for their late night hours that they're extending or something like that. There's a reason behind the paint scheme, but I'll have to do some more research. I'll let you guys know on Thursday. And then talking about Jimmy Johnson, Jimmy Johnson has had hashtags for every season he's had.
Yep.
The last several years. When he was going for 6, it was hashtag 6-pack. And then when he had his record-tying 7th, it was hashtag 7, but they replaced the V with a 7.
Right.
This past year, they were hashtagging chasing 8, but Jimmy said, I don't want to do that. He said, I do not want to chase anything anymore. Like, this is my last year. I'm out here to have fun. So he has instead wanted to change it to hashtag one final time. And I think it's really cool because it basically says, you know what, yes, I would love to get an 8th championship. I don't care about the championship. I want to go win races. I want to be competitive and want to make the playoffs.
Well, and what's great about it is that we've been conditioned in modern culture and even in motorsports to understand that one final time doesn't necessarily mean one final time.
That's why drivers say my last full-time season or my last full season because, Junior's been halving it for 3 years now.
I mean, how many final tours has Kiss had, right? Or the Rolling Stones keep popping up, and Mark Martin retired but then didn't retire. And then Junior, it's my last race, except it's not. So we've been conditioned now. So Jimmy's left it out here for all of those fans who just can't stand the thought of Jimmy Johnson not being in the sport, not driving a car. One final time, he's left the door open for another final time down the road.
I can see him. Fox went to a 2-man booth this year with Mike Joy and Jeff Gordon because Darrell Waltrip retired. I can see Jimmy filling that third role next year.
Oh my, that would be interesting.
I think the dynamic between him and Jeff would be so cool because Jeff basically brought him into the sport. And Jeff is primarily responsible for all of his championships because he handpicked Jimmy to drive that 48 car. So I think the dynamic would be super cool, and I think Jimmy would make a great commentator.
I actually agree with you. Now, I love the fact that this is, again, off the Newswire, Clint Boyer going to do all the Xfinity Series races.
Has he been found yet, by the way? I don't know, because he said something about, getting completely, I don't want to say what he said, but drunk, we'll say, after the Chiefs won, and he's been missing for like 2 days now. Nobody's heard from him on social media. So
I'm sure that he'll eventually recover.
He'll turn up. Right? I mean, it's Daytona time, but there was a
that's exactly what you'd expect Clint Boyer to do.
Oh,
right?
Of course.
I mean, he's been waiting a long time for that moment. So, as of the rest of the Chiefs fans, congratulations to the Kansas, Missouri Chiefs on a big win.
Okay, you cover the whole thing.
Yeah, I love the dynamic of I think Clint is so much fun because he just has fun. He's so passionate about it. When he's in the booth, you never know what he's going to say. And see, I think that's, Jimmy Johnson could be perfect in that role because he does have a personality. It just isn't necessarily as flashy or gregarious as, say a Kenny Wallace or a Michael Waltrip, but Jimmy really knows this sport, and I think it would be fun to have him.
And he has a passion for the sport, too, which is what you need.
Exactly.
Guys like Jeff Gordon, don't come around all
I
the
still
time.
think you're going to see him tackle an IndyCar race or two.
Oh, well, absolutely. He's not done racing. He's just done racing NASCAR.
Done full-time NASCAR
and he may actually
he wants to do other things.
Yeah, he may even run like the 500 next year just to, especially if he wins it this year, just to...
I can't see that. I don't see that
kind of like
happening.
A David Reagan type thing.
No, I don't see that happening. No, I think he goes and does other disciplines. He wants to run an IndyCar road race. I could see him doing the Rolex, for example, that type of thing. I think Jimmy wants to still race. He just doesn't want to do the full-time thing anymore. Okay. And I think he understands that it's just time. I mean, Hendrick there's a youth movement going on there. And I think it's one of those moments where you realize that, there isn't a lot left for me here to do other than win an 8th championship, which is not a definitive goal.
Right.
He could try till he's 60 and never win it.
Exactly. And there's guys that have been trying, and they're in their 60s.
I think that's why he's changed the hashtag.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah,
he doesn't want the focus to be on the championship. Right. He wants it to be on going out, having fun, and winning races.
It's much more pressure to try to win a championship than it is to win a race.
Right.
So you'd much rather take the pressure off yourself and go, I'm just here to have fun. The last year, whatever happens. Like, winning multiple races or winning the championship isn't going to change my mind about coming back next year. I'm leaving either way, so I just want to go out on a high note. Speaking of going out on a high note, we're going to take a break. When we come back on the other side of the break, we've got more NASCAR news. NASCAR's changing their stage lengths again. Oh, Lord. We'll be back with more of the Inside Pass right after this.
This is News Talk 105.9 Lake Norman, 100.7 Greater Statesville, WSIC, where Terrell turns first for breaking news and severe weather alerts.
You've tuned in to hear local news, and so have a lot of other people. Your business could be advertising right here. Find out how affordable it can be. Call 704-872-6345, 704-872-6345.
Good morning, everyone. In the WSIC News Studios, I'm James Mellick, filling in for Margaret Beveridge, who's out on a cruise enjoying herself a little relaxing and recovery. Virginia Senate blocks another Northam-backed gun bill. The Senate voted against Northam's bill that would make it a felony and reckless to leave a loaded gun, unsecured firearm in a way that would endanger a minor. Virginia continues to become the battleground state for the nation's gun debate. Donald Trump is slated to give his third State of the Union address tonight. That speech can be found on your local Fox channel starting at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. If you're unable to get near a TV, you can listen to it in its entirety right here on WSIC. Rush Limbaugh announces he has advanced stages of lung cancer. The midday voice here on WSIC, the 69-year-old conservative talk pioneer, closes his broadcast with griming news, saying he will leave the golden EIB microphone for treatment and hopes to return later this week. For W.
Hey, this is Jessica Babington from Trump International Realty here in Mooresville. Come see us for all your Lake Norman real estate needs. Check us out online at TrumpInternationalRealty.com. Again, that's TrumpInternationalRealty.com.
There's a problem with coffee today. We throw it in our shopping carts and just drink it out of habit. Transform your coffee experience with Black Powder Coffee, roasted right here in Mooresville. Black Powder Coffee gives you a prime roasted craft blend at a reasonable price. Depending on the bean, you'll taste subtle notes of vanilla, berries, and chocolates with a smooth finish. Pick up Black Powder Coffee at Harris Teeter, Ingles, Publix, La Fresca, The Coffee Lodge, or Lowry Drug. When you're in Mooresville, stop by the roastery, 256 Raceway Drive, blackpowdercoffee.com.
So I've got your new thing to do on Wednesday mornings at 8 a.m. This is Kyle Houston. We'll be doing Houston Solutions right here on WSIC. We'll be talking about national news and politics and some insurance tips to help with your daily life. Join me Wednesdays at 8 a.m. right here on WSIC.
Happening now at Randy, Mary, and Ford Lincoln in Statesville.
I tell you, the hottest deal truck month on an F-150, 0% up to 72 months. That's not on an old model truck. That is a 2019 F-150, 0 for 72 months. What's that mean? Thousands of savings for you. Come check them out today. Randy, Mary, Ford Lincoln, I-77, exit 49B.
King of Price, Randy, Mary, and Ford Lincoln in Statesville.
Hello, race fans. This is Chris Wright. Thanks for listening to these guys. Man, what some great radio hosts. You're listening to the Inside Pass.
Welcome back to the Inside Pass here on WSIC, and we thank you all so much for watching us. If you're watching us on digital channel 25.2 or on Continuum Cable channel 4 in the Mooresville, Greater Lake Norman area, or if you're listening to us on one of WSIC's family of radio stations, 100.7 FM, 1400 AM, or 105.9 FM if you were in the area. Or if you're streaming us, thank you for streaming this on the website, WSICFM.com. The TuneIn app hasn't been working lately. I don't know what's going on with that, but we'll get somebody
But you can, well, look, just go to WSICFM.com.
Yeah, it'll stream the radio station 24 hours a day. So
you can just do that from your phone, too.
It's easier that way. It'll be on demand probably tomorrow if you want to catch up on anything you missed on today's show. So NASCAR has decided to kind of change up the stage lengths a little bit. The first thing that they did is they decided to go back to halfway point being the official race. So this year, if the race reaches the halfway point laps-wise, it will be an official race. Or if they complete the second stage before halfway, either one of those things will constitute a full race, which is the way it's been since Moses walked the earth.
Yeah.
So kudos to NASCAR for kind of going back a little bit. The second thing that they did, I think, is something that I wanted to see change. The stage lengths are going to be adjusted to where the final stage has less laps, which makes it more of a shootout, which makes it more exciting for the fans. Interesting how that works.
Yeah. I mean, I'm in total agreement with what NASCAR is doing. And again, I look at this, and it's always amusing to me that the fans... It doesn't matter what NASCAR does. Some of them just come, they're changing it again. Why can't they just leave it alone?
NASCAR died when blah, 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 blah.
Dear fans, I thought you didn't like stages in the first place. It's like, look, they changed them to make it more exciting. Why does it matter what the stage lengths are? And here's the easy way for those of you who just think that, I just can't remember all this crap. Let me give you a guide quickly to how to deal with this, okay? Sit down, turn the race on, watch the race. When a caution comes out and they say that it's the end of a stage, here's all you do. Look at the top 10 and count backwards from 10 in your head. 10 points for first, 9 points second, 8 points third, all the way down to 1 point for 10th. It's all you got to do. Done. It's not hard, folks. You just got to be okay with it. I get so tired of these fans who complain about everything NASCAR does. It's like, just go away.
Yeah, people don't like
change. I think
it's
a good change.
I get it. But to me, when I look at when they said that the stage things was coming into play, I hated it at first. And I even hated the chase at first because I was like, this is dumb. Why are we pretending to be something we're not? But then, especially the last 3 or 4 years, the chases got really exciting. With the stage lengths, I don't even calculate the points. I look at it as, okay, so if the race is 500 laps and you have a stage break at lap 150 or whatever, it's caution flag at lap 150. Take the whole competition caution or stage break caution out of your head. It doesn't matter. It's just a regular caution flag. It'd be like, what if somebody spun out on lap 150 and they threw the caution flag? It's the same thing. Like, it doesn't change anything. It's still a caution flag.
NASCAR created the stages because people were complaining because there weren't enough caution flags.
Right.
In some of the longer races, like Atlanta or whatever, where they're on a mile and a half. They all get stretched out, and it's just boring. So NASCAR creates stages, and everybody complains about the stages. It's like, people, somehow you got to let NASCAR win something here.
Right, exactly.
They're trying to do – the reason why the no caution thing has developed over the last 15, 20 years is because the technology has made the cars so easy to drive, frankly. You can't spin the doggone things out.
Just wait till next year. You guys are all going to get your wish.
When the new Gen 7 car comes out, it's going to – now, look, again, it's going to be a new deal. Everybody's going to – but it's going to solve a lot of the sort of intrinsic issues that we've had, like too much doggone side force.
Right.
Side force is aero. Aero is not good for motorsports in any form. So Eric Jones said it best. He said with this new car after he tested it, if you get sideways, it's going to be a real job for the driver to correct it.
Which is how it should be.
With the current car, he said you can get it sideways, and most of the time the side force will basically straighten it out. Yeah. So basically the translation is we're racing slot cars right now. We're going to get rid of the slot car.
The chances is you will be driving a race car.
Right.
Wow.
It'll be driver input. And that's really the deal here is NASCAR is trying to undo some of the areas where we've gone way too far in the wrong direction in the past, 20 years or so. Yeah. And it's going to take them a little time, but I think they'll get there.
So Ryan Blaney had some interesting comments to say last week about his time with Team Penske. The exact quote that I will read is as follows. I look back, and I have been the third best-performing driver since 2016. You don't want to be that guy. That's something I want to change really bad. I don't want to be the bottom of the totem pole. I'm not treated like that. I'm not saying that. I get everything those guys get. Brad and Joey are great. They're both champions. I want to be better than those guys. That's obviously the goal. It's a personal thing. I need to get better. So basically, to me, and we talk about this all the time on all the shows, your image and your performance are basically, and your talent, are totally separate things now. If you're not out there performing, then you're not going to have a ride for much longer. And you always don't want to be the third, you don't want to be the lowest guy on the team. Ryan Blaney had that problem last year. Eric Jones had that problem until he won Darlington. Anytime you have a multiple-car team, there's always going to be one guy who's not going to be happy about the other guy's performance, and in this case, it's Ryan Blaney. But especially when Ryan's in a contract year, because 2020, he's a free agent at the end of the year, are those things you really want to say going into a year when your contract may or may not get renewed?
Well, yeah, I think it's exactly what you want to say, and I'll explain why. See, we've conditioned ourselves now to we only read a headline or we only read a sentence or two. We don't read the whole book or the whole article, and then we just jump to an opinion. Okay. We do this in politics all the time. If you read that whole article, you got to get to the bottom to where Ryan says, I'm not saying the team is shortchanging me. It's my problem.
Right.
I got to improve. I think that's exactly what I want to hear out of Ryan Blaney. I don't want to hear that the team's not doing this or not doing that or it's somebody else's fault. Okay. I hear that all too much. Ryan's auditioning. There's a big ride over at Hendrick available, and his best friend is driving on the team. I'm not saying he's auditioning for the 48, but he's in the contract year. So he's got to make a choice after this year, and so does Penske, whether or not he stays or he goes. I want him to say, it's on me to step it up and figure out how to get myself to that level to where I'm performing the same way my teammates are. That's, to me, that's great. And that's what I want to hear. I don't want to hear a driver whine about something else besides themselves.
See, I think that's what makes the competition even better, the last couple of years, is because these guys like Ryan Blaney, even Eric Jones, they know that there are people under them in development that are just as talented as they are. And they know that if they don't keep their performance level up, those guys can be replaced, with the drop of a hat. I mean, you look at Ryan Blaney, he drives for Penske. Penske got other drivers in the pipeline waiting, and even
Austin's injured.
Right, and there's even a little-known driver that drives for a satellite team called Wood Brothers, who would love to have that 12 car at some point in time, especially if he goes out this year and does what everybody wants him to do in that 21 car.
Yep,
he's a viable candidate for that ride as well. So those guys have to be on their A game, and it's great for Ryan Blaney to not blame the team. I mean, obviously, that's the worst thing you can do in a contract year is go, my team sucks. But at the same time, it's hard for you as a driver to sit back and watch your teammates win, 7, 8, 9 times during the year. Both of them. I mean, he did make the playoffs, but having the one win, he did win once this year. Yeah, he did have one win. So, I mean, it's tough, and it's got to be tough for guys like that, to not know what their future's going to have, where their future's going to be. So,
well, it's just, again, it's nice to hear a driver say, "Look, it's up to me to get better." Mm-hmm. We all too often hear the other part of it, and sometimes it is the team. For example, I think Daniel Suarez at Gibbs, I don't think he got what he needed.
Right.
Every driver's different. I think you got to really, if you're going to put a driver in your car, it's up to you to give them the stability, give them the right people to deal with their personality and their situation, and to be patient with them and bring them up. In Suarez's case, that's what he needed. Ryan Blaney doesn't need all that. Ryan Blaney has everything he needs. It's up to him to sort of figure out where he can improve and go out and get better. And I think he will. I think you're going to see Ryan in the playoffs this year. I think every single one of those Penske cars will win a race, including the Wood Brothers with DiBenedetto.
Yeah, and I think, with the 48 car on the horizon, I think a lot of drivers are going to step up their game this year, especially the younger talent that really yearn to have a good ride like that. I mean,
that's a coveted ride.
I think everybody in the NASCAR garage area would love to be in that 48 car, not because it's a Hendrick car, but because it's Jimmy. Like, you're taking over for a guy who won 7 championships. So,
I would think it would be the opposite. I would think you'd want to be in it because it's a Hendrick car.
Well, that's true.
And it's proven that it can win championships. The last guy I want to follow is a 7-time champion. That's a big stage, and whoever gets in that car is going to have to live up to it.
But I think if you have a guy on your team like William Byron, who stepped in for Gordon, and Alex Bowman, who stepped in for Dale Jr., those guys know what it takes. Those guys know what it's like to feel the pressure and can help whoever takes that 48 car adhere to the pressure and, block it all out of their mind.
I think depending who gets hired for the 48, Alex Bowman could be the senior member of that team next year.
That's a crazy thought.
Age-wise, I think.
Yeah, and he's only like 20.
He's older than Elliott, right?
26.
We'll have to look
he
that
is.
up.
I think Elliott's the 22.
Yeah.
We'll look it up. We'll be back. We'll have more NASCAR news when we come back on the Inside Pass WSIC.
Read it tomorrow, see it tonight, or hear it now on News Talk 105.9 Lake Norman, 100.7 Greater Statesville, WSIC.
Randy Marion is the king of price. Go check out the great deals on new and pre-owned vehicles. Whatever your needs are, Randy Marion Chevrolet of Statesville has you covered. Go see him today. Randy Marion Chevrolet off I-40, exit 152. Visit randymarionstatesville.com.
For WSIC, I'm Fox 46 meteorologist Nick Koser. High is 68 with a 20% chance for showers later in the day. Overnight low 54. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy, a 40% chance for showers and another warm high of 67. Back up to 69 on Thursday, but it's going to be a wet one with showers and storms. From the Neighborhood Storm Watch Forecast Center, I'm meteorologist Nick Koser. Be sure to catch Chief Meteorologist Tara Lane today on Fox 46 News at 5.
Good morning, everyone. With your WSIC News Break, I'm Tom Baker. 3 teens are facing charges connected to a fire that occurred in the 700 block of Shinville Road near Mooresville early Saturday morning. 19-year-old Cam Lee Rowland of Concord and 2 boys ages 14 and 16 in Mooresville are charged in connection with the fire at a vacant residence that had not been occupied for quite some time, according to Iredell County Sheriff Daryn Campbell. National award-winning and multi-charting Christian country artist Shellam Klein will be holding his annual homecoming concert this Saturday, February the 8th, right here in Statesville at the Wayside Baptist Church. The concert begins at 6 p.m. and will feature Klein as well as up-and-coming music artist Mitchell Wisnant. Climb, a Statesville native, has had 7 #1 songs, and his current single Glass Half Full is number 9 on the national chart. With your
Financial stuff, it's so confusing. Where do you even start?
With a trusted partner who knows the options and can understand your individual needs. That partner is Joshua Doby from the North Main Financial Group in Cornelius and host of North Main Financial, Saturdays at noon on WSIC.
Hello, this is Joshua Doby, and I'm excited to share financial education while securing your financial future. Whether it's stocks, bonds, life insurance, partnerships, or anything else, we're here to help. Join me Saturdays at noon and visit us at northmainfinancial.com.
Join WSIC Friday, February 7th at 11 a.m. as Mark Sanger hosts local candidates for District and Superior Court Judge. Smart, focused, and thoughtful questions will cut to the root of platforms, showing how these men and women will handle real issues impacting our judicial system. Bail, race, mental health, and so much more. Friday, February 7th at 11 a.m. presented by Lake Norman Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Here on News Talk 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
This is Justin Lofton, and you're listening to the best guys on the radio, the Inside Pass.
Welcome back to the Inside Pass. Tom and I used both sets of fingers and toes to figure out ages for all of the Hendrick Motorsports drivers during the break. Alex is 26, Chase is 24, Byron's 22. So there you go.
So they're all 2 years apart.
They're all 2 years apart.
So if you put a 20-year-old...
Oh, yeah.
If you want to play the what's in the number game.
There are 2 that come to mind. Ryan Blaney is 26, and Eric Jones is 25.
Well, that doesn't fit, because you either got to have a 28-year-old or a
20. Oh, you mean to make it go in
right. You got to go
order?
Right. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, I mean, they're all going to have birthdays at some point.
It's a fun
so
game to play.
27,
well,
25, 23.
Apart is what I'm saying. Yeah, so if you want to, yeah.
That's true.
But, I think there's about a handful of drivers that could be in the running. I mean, I don't see Rick going out and hiring a veteran, but if the right one became available, who knows?
I think there's going to... I personally, and I know next week during 500 week on the show, I know on Madness, we're going to do Fantasy NASCAR this year, but I think one of the cool things that we do is try to come up with a bracket for the final 16. I think it's going to be interesting to see what the three of us come up with, or I guess 4 if you count James. And then also who we think takes the 48 car. I think it's going to be like somebody completely out of left field, but...
Really?
Who knows? Yeah. I mean, I have my personal pick, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. I think it'll be
well. I mean, okay. So are we going to hold? Is that a teaser that you got to list?
Yes, it's going to be a madness thing next week. Well, is it next week? Yeah, because next weekend is a 500. So yes.
So make sure that you tune in on the 13th to Motorsports Madness at 7 p.m. right here.
You'll hear
on WSIC
You'll hear our picks, our I guess bracket for the playoffs. Who we think is going to take the 48, and then we'll explain Fantasy NASCAR for those who don't know how to
See, that's torture. All of our audience on the Inside Pass is going, no, you're going to make us wait. We got to
listen
to another show.
A week and a half.
Gosh, man, you're mean.
I try. Anyway, NASCAR met with manufacturers current and future about the new engines for 2023. There's some electrical aspects that they're working on, but the interesting thing is new manufacturers who are going to be coming into the sport. The two most talked about manufacturers right now are Honda and Nissan. And then, of course, there's old school fans who yearn for a Dodge reunion, but that's a Fiat company now, so I don't know if that's going to happen.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting to me. It's like everybody, they're all complaining about like Nissan or whoever, Honda, Kia, whoever it would be. But then we want Dodge. It's like, well, you do understand that Dodge
is a German company now.
A German company, right?
Exactly.
It's the same thing.
Yeah, it's funny.
I think there's, I think it matters where outside the U.S. you come from with some fans still.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
it's like, look, at the end of the day, if we all want the sport to grow, this is how it's going to happen. Chevy, Ford, and Toyota are already there. They're not going anywhere. Mm-mm. So the more manufacturers we get in, the more teams we have, the better, the healthier the sport is, period.
I think it helps the economy, too, if you think about it, because, NASCAR's always been built on a sport that's all about, win on Sunday, sell on Monday type of mentality. So
I think we have a phone call here. Let's see if could it be? Hello, you are on the Inside Pass.
Hey guys, Daryn Pittman here.
Hey,
hello.
Daryn was a little late to the starting grid, but that's okay.
I would rather him be late to the show and be first in victory lane.
Right.
That's the way that works. On the Strutmasters.com hotline, we have the driver of the number 83 Roth's Motorsports entry in the World of Outlaws series. Mr. Daryn Pittman is on the phone. Are you in Florida yet? Are you en route to Florida? Are you ready for the start of the 2020 campaign?
Yeah, we're already here. We got down here on Saturday, and so yeah, we've been down here for a couple days, just enjoying the weather and getting stuff cleaned up. And kind of hard to do all that stuff in Indiana in the wintertime, so we always try to come down a little bit early and just spend some time getting everything ready. And yeah, guys are here. They got in on Sunday, I believe, and yeah, they've worked really hard all winter long and built some new cars. And yeah, we're excited to see where we're at. I mean, we think we're ready, but there's probably 35 other cars that think they're ready as well, and there's only one of us that's going to win the first night. So we'll see how we shake out tonight with practice and how that translates the rest of the week.
4 wins, 31 top 5s, and 53 top 10s, and 72 starts last year for you and the team. Daryn, obviously 4th place is great, but I know it's not where you want to be. What have you and the Roth Motorsports team put together over the winter? What have you changed, or what are you looking for this year that'll help you to elevate to get a little closer to the Sweet and Shots show for 2020?
I'm glad you didn't mess that up. That was good.
Yeah, that could have been bad, couldn't it?
Our big thing is we just focused on what we needed to do with our cars to be more consistent. We just had way too many bad nights, and obviously 4 wins versus Brad's whatever he had 15, 16, 14, yeah. and Donnie's always double digits.
Yep.
If we're going to contend with those guys, we've got to get in the double digit category as far as wins go. And basically across the board, we've just really focused on our tracks that we struggled at, and what we need to do to improve. We're hopeful that a lot of those things we can learn from last year and improve off those finishes. And we just had too many 15th, 16th, 17th place finishes where nothing was wrong and nothing was broke, and we didn't crash. And we've got to take those nights and turn those into 5th or 6th or 7th and 8th. You're obviously not gonna win every night, but you've got to minimize your losses on nights that you're off, and capitalize and turn those bad finishes into top 10, and you've got to turn 7th and 8th into 3rd and 4th somehow. And that's where the consistency comes in. And our second year working together as a team, and some things that we changed around as far as personnel last year, we're excited with where we're at, but we know it's definitely going to be a tough challenge, but one I think we're up to.
So a lot of people don't realize that Roth Motorsports is probably one of the most legendary teams in the World of Outlaws garage. I mean, it has a rich history with guys like Kevin Swindell, the Kadings, Daniel Lasowski, all driving for the team at various times. What does it mean to you to drive for such a legendary team like that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's it's an iconic car, and Dennis and Teresa are staples of sprint car racing and World of Outlaw racing in general. And so, to get the opportunity to drive for them last year was a big, something I was very proud of, and obviously to get the chance to come back and try to improve off our first year is something that I'm excited about, and I think we can do. So, I've got a very young crew chief in Brent Ventura, and last year was his first year. Hopefully he learned quite a bit, and there was definitely a level of maturity that we saw improve in him throughout the season, and he knows a little bit more what to expect. And but at the end of the day, Dennis and Teresa, they want to see their car in victory lane, and we've got to do a better job of that. If we expect to make this last any length of time, and we know that, and every driver knows that. That's obviously the goal, no matter where you're at. But it's something that we're focused on, and that hopefully we can definitely improve on those numbers from last year.
Daryn, we've observed over the last 2, 3, 4 seasons what we believe is a real uptick in popularity with the World of Outlaws series, not just with fans, but also with companies who are coming in and sponsoring teams and, becoming a part of the series. Have you sort of, have you felt that too or noticed that from your standpoint? And what do you feel like the World of Outlaws series, why is it so interesting now to companies, and what does it offer that maybe some of the other series, even NASCAR, doesn't?
Well, I think I agree. I think dirt racing as a whole has a lot of momentum behind it right now, and our job is the series and the drivers to try to capitalize on that. I think a lot of that is, NASCAR seems to be struggling. They for years I think they priced themselves out, and now their crowds don't support the numbers they were getting in sponsorship dollars, and I think their TV ratings are down as well. And so, at the end of the day, I just think we are a more affordable, prospect for sponsors to look at. We're a much more viable situation for a lot of businesses. The other thing is, Dirt Vision has a huge, I think, impact on our sport, and not necessarily, Dirt Vision for us, but all webcasts of all series in sprint car racing across the country is, I think, connected us with fans that were maybe casual fans, the once or twice that would come into their area a year. Now they feel like with Dirt Vision and the monthly subscription that it's something they can follow, all season long. So I think the more you can, if you take a fan that says they're a fan and goes to one or two races a year, then now they have access to watch, as many as they want, 50, 60, 70, all of them if they can. That's a huge increase in, our, fan base and how much they're, liable to be active in the sport. So I think that's been a big part of it as well, to help draw people in. And there's, you just see it on Twitter and social media. The amount of following, when we have a great race or something, the amount of people that are watching it or stayed up late to watch it is, I think, something that's really remarkable, and that's cool to be, a part of, this time of sprint car racing.
We have to tell you congratulations. I didn't realize that this is going into 2020. This is your 21st year in the World of Outlaws series. That is major longevity on the part of your career. So kudos to you for 21 years in the sport.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
I know that you can't make all of this happen without sponsorship and help. So while you're on the air with us, tell us who all makes your car go round and round every week.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, Dennis and Teresa just give me a great opportunity, and they've been very successful business people, and they choose to fund the team themselves, and that's the way they've basically always done it, and there's no shortage in what we need, and if we feel strongly that it's something we need to perform, they don't hesitate to give us the tools, and that's a great feeling as a driver, and obviously as crews, knowing part going up and down the road, knowing that you've got very supportive car owners. So just couldn't do it without them, and obviously over the course of I don't even know, that's news to me. This is my 21st year, and that just makes me feel old, but I've been very blessed to drive for a lot of really good car owners and have a lot of really good sponsors over the course of my career that have allowed me to, chase something that I, as a young kid from Oklahoma, just thought was sort of a dream, and have turned it into the only profession that I know.
Well, congratulations on all your success, and good luck to you in the 2020 season, and we'll be watching your campaign for at least a better spot in the standings. We hope for a championship for the Ross Motorsports team this year.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. Sorry for the delay.
Oh, no, you're fine. You're fine. Daryn Pittman, everybody, and we congratulate him on his success and hope that he does really good in the 2020 season. So, real quick, I know we got like a minute and a half left. What was your favorite Super Bowl commercial?
I think the Google one. That one really kind of hit me in the feels.
Yeah, I didn't get to see all the commercials. I like the
it's all about Alzheimer's.
The Amazon Alexa one, the one that what did we did before Alexa was invented. I think it made me laugh.
There were some good ones, but I said last night on Lead Lap that I really think that there's no commercial that's impacted me in the last several years like the one that Dodge Ram did a few years ago with God Made a Farmer.
Yes. Yeah,
I think that might be my all-time favorite one.
For sure. All right, we have got to get out of here. Our thanks to Daryn Pittman for joining us today, and we will see you guys on Thursday for Madness and next week for another edition of the Inside Pass right here on WSIC. Have a great week, everyone.